And so look, if you got a really bad case, my advice to you is going to be to say as little as possible, but more often than not, from a domestic violence perspective, I've had clients that were unequivocally guilty of what they were being accused of. And there's been situations where I agreed to a restraining order because there's no redeeming anything here. He just wants to he's not interested in speaking to the other side. He caused real injuries to the parties. He acknowledges that he has a problem. There is no beating it. You know, they got him confession on text messages and other stuff on video doing stuff. And so there's nothing to redeem. There's no saving that guy. But what do we do? I mean, look, he's going to get beat down. He's going to lose in court. There's going to be a restraining order. But if his goal is, I just want to find a path back to my kids, I want to get myself help, then great, let's do that. Let's set you up with some anger management classes, set you up with some parenting classes. If you got a substance abuse problem, I'll set you up with some of those classes. And I don't really care if the judge orders you to do them or not. It's something that you should do just for your life. And finding a way back to your children, and God willing, you know, I mean, you better hope that you haven't caused so much damage to this family where they just want nothing to do with you ever again. And really, that's really where the lawyer job stops. I can't do anything about that. I mean, if you cause really emotional damage to your family, I mean, you got to pay for what you did. I can't litigate that with your daughter or your son or with your wife. You know, I mean, if they don't want to talk to you, you don't have to. So if you got to make amends, there's a way to do it. And maybe you should have that moment and that realization that I'm not going to fight this. I'm going to acknowledge and I'm going to apologize. And listen, I never walk into court. My whole philosophy is I'm never walking into court to destroy the other guy unless he does something that warrants it, you know? Like, for example, in the scenario I just posed, let's just say I was on the other side and I got this guy and have all this evidence against him. He's really trying to fight it or blame it on my client. Then we're going to go into court and you're going to have a tough day because I'm going to cross-examine you on some things. We're going to get to the bottom of some things. I'm going to show you some pictures that you're not going to be able to account for. You're going to see some video that you're not going to like to see. Exactly. And you're going to look really bad in court. You're going to have a tough day. But on the other hand, if counsel pulls me aside or he pulls me aside and just says, look, I know I did this. I know I might cut a deal with them. You know, I might just say that, you know, obviously depending on what my client wants me to do. If there's children involved, I might propose, not all judges like this idea, but I might propose something like, look, clearly you guys were angry with each other. Clearly some things happened. Clearly you didn't do the right thing, but I'm going to give you a chance. And when I'm offering this opportunity, it's because I've already had this discussion with the other parent and they wanted me to have this discussion. So I'll go and I'll pull them aside. I'll say, look, if I go forward on this restraining order, we're probably going to win. And if that happens, there are going to be real consequences for you, but I'm going to offer you this. Why don't we put this off for 6 months? And then I will put you on a step-up plan. If you do whatever classes, or you get yourself into some therapy, or you get yourself some help, and there's no further incidents for the next 6 months, then maybe we just dismiss the restraining order and this all goes away. And then we could plan a regular co-parenting relationship. If they're willing to work with me on that, I always work with them without fail. You'd be surprised how many people have took me up on that offer. Maybe, well, there's been a handful. Yeah. The last time I offered that in court, we had the deal all written up, myself and another attorney. And his attorney says, this is bullshit. I'm not going to have a restraining order. She's just trying to do this to get back at me, and I refuse. And we were legitimately going to put him on a path to unsupervised visitation and just be cool for the next few months. We will dismiss, even though we had all of this evidence. And so, all right, well, we ended up doing the restraining order here, and he got a restraining order. And more often than not, it happened. I even had a case where this other guy was not represented at all. Okay. He was just a kid, 22, 23. He was just an idiot, as most men are idiots at 23. I was a 23-year-old idiot. and he, I had a lot of empathy for him because he did some really bad things, but I just kind of pulled him aside and had to give him a heart to heart. Like it was his older brother. Like, what are you doing with these text messages? What are you doing sending her these videos? Like, what is wrong with you? You know, you got a 6-month-old baby over there, or you're about to have a baby. I think that's the case. She's about to have a baby, and you're over here carrying on this way. That's going to be the mother of your child. Do you want to have a future with your son or your daughter or whatever it's going to be? And, you know, he was all teary-eyed, and he's like, okay, so we made that deal. It was like, we're going to put this off for 60 days. If you could just be cool for 60 days, maybe we'll dismiss it. Not only was he not cool for 60 days, but he was worse. And I'm talking about violating the temporary restraining order that was already in place, sending her text messages literally from morning to, midnight, day on day, end after end, calling her every derogatory name in the book, swearing up and down, sending her derogatory pictures, sending her threats, driving by her house, of course, which I have it all on video because Ring cameras nowadays,
super
right?
Nice for proving those cases.
It was really, really bad. And interestingly with that case, I get in front of the judge and I tell him, like, Your Honor, I would really liked to, because he asked us if we had worked it all out. And I told the judge that I really wish we could say that. Unfortunately, there's been some further violations, and I think we have to move forward. And then there's another continuance. And then he gets an attorney, right? Something, oh, great, thank God. So somebody's going to sit down and have a heart to heart with this guy about he might be messing up right now. Okay? And his attorney, you know, I pulled him aside and I said, look, I'm not trying to go after your guy. I'm trying to be nice, whatever. And then he starts attacking my client. And I'm like, hold the phone. You have no idea. I know you're new on this case. You have no idea what you're getting into. You haven't seen the evidence. Why don't we just pump the brakes on this conversation? Call me later this afternoon. I'll show you everything. But he was this young attorney and he really wanted to, like, I don't know, put on a show for his new client, I guess. Who knows? Who knows? So he puts up this big show, makes these arguments in front of the judge, and I'm sitting here not visibly rolling my eyes, but I was doing it in my head. You know, I mean, I was just like so over this case. Maybe a week later, the guy filed a sub of attorney. He was off of that case. Yeah. He couldn't put up with this guy. He's up getting another attorney after that. It was a lot of the same thing. And ultimately, I don't know what happened because I got subbed out because finance issues with my client. But I gave her some clear instructions and she was okay. Guy ended up getting a restraining order against him.